Hi, I'm Joe Hinson, President and CEO of the Westchester Liberty Chamber Alliance. Welcome to another edition of our Community Leaders Podcast. Thank you to SpotOn Productions for producing today's podcast. Go to www.spoton.productions to see how videos can benefit you. At our last Community Leaders Podcast, we shared our thoughts, experiences, and future plans as we navigated through COVID-19. We all had to make adjustments, stay relevant, and lead our customers through the pandemic. Now we would like to provide an update on how we are moving forward as we end the year 2021 and begin 2022. My pleasure to introduce in alphabetical order our community leaders today. First of all, we have Kristen Bitonte, Township Administrator, Liberty Township. Hello, Kristen. Thank you for joining us. Larry Burks, Township Administrator, Westchester Township. Hi, Larry. Erin Clemons, President and CEO, Northern Cincinnati Foundation. Hello, Erin. I'm sure we're going to hear more about the name change. Mark Hecquet, President and CEO, Travel Butler County. Mark, another new name. We'll hear more, I'm sure, about that. And Matt Miller, proud Superintendent. Did I get that right, Matt? Proud Superintendent, Lakota Local School District. So welcome all, and let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Kristen. We'll lead off with you. What has your organization been focusing on over the past year? Since last time we spoke, what's been going on in Liberty Township?
Well, we definitely have a lot going on. We have not slowed down at all, which is a good thing for us. So we have continued to work on a small project, Milliken Way Interchange. So we continue to propel that forward. We got through a feasibility study. Now we went on into the next couple of studies that we've done and which will be completed this year. So once we get those done, thumbs up, hopefully we get from ODOT approval to move forward. We call that kind of our go or no-go moment. So we'll hopefully hear that in first quarter of 2022. We did receive $1 million grant from TRAC for this project. We had actually applied for $450,000. We got $1 million. So we thought that was a pretty big win for us to continue the project forward. Did a public input session where we did it actually virtual, which was the first time we've ever done anything like that. And we got great feedback, good results as far as input from residents in surrounding area. We've also did an update to our comprehensive land use plan. So that's kind of our roadmap for the future landscape and development. So we finished that in December of 2020. And then we completed I believe to be the final facility project on our list, at least in my time. So we finished Fire Station 112, which is located now on Princeton Road, formerly located on Yankee Road. And we had our ribbon cutting for our new administration building in August, which was exciting, a 1 year post opening, but we were excited to share it and appreciate the chamber coming out and sharing it with us. So
there's a lot there, Kristen, and it didn't appear as if the pandemic slowed you down at all.
No.
And so as you look back on that, what would you say was the secret of the success of keeping things moving forward for Liberty?
Our team, for sure. Our team was key. We jumped right in. We were very, able to adapt to the situation and just keep things moving. We couldn't have done it without our entire team, and obviously those that are surrounding us as well, and our partners that collaborate with us.
Very good. Thank you, Kristen. Larry, Westchester Township. Things are happening there. What can you share with us in this past year?
Thank you, Joe. Like Liberty Township, we've just got so many things going on right now with development and just a myriad of projects, and our focus is in many, many different places. But today, I want to point out the 3 E's of what I think is important over the last 18 months. And One of the things we've been really focusing on is our employee health and wellness, okay? The pandemic has brought a lot of issues to us and a major strain and distraction for all the employees, especially the public servants in the community, and not only here in Westchester and Liberty, but nationwide. We've been focusing on maintaining healthy practices and continuing to monitor the employee health. And not just physical, but mental health is an important part of our plan as well. Using our employee assistance programs and things like that, we want to make sure employees are aware that they have these resources available to them, because happy employees are more productive employees. You cannot deny that. Employee engagement. For 18 months, we've been trying to reach out to the employees and implemented many surveys to receive important feedback from all the employees. Once this valuable feedback is received, we evaluate it, and many times we act on these policies. We change our policies based on the feedback we received from our employees. It's not always what we want to hear, though, but we need to hear the critical feedback in order to understand the needs of our team as a whole. We've held a few employee-only events. The ice cream socials, we were outside and we were able to move around and social distance, and we had it in the fire bay here at headquarters, and we received a lot of great comments about that. But some of the events that we have planned we weren't able to do, but we do plan to do in the future, is like a 2 and 10 event where people going into their second year of employment will get together and meet with people going into their 10th year of employment. So we have those younger, newer employees mixing with some of the more seasoned veterans, so they can start a mentor-mentee relationship within the organization and not necessarily within their department. And then the big thing right now is economic development. Like Liberty, it's just not stopped around here. Record-setting permits, and we continue to have that envious growth in the region. We're now looking at a variety of redevelopment projects that the township can play a catalyst role in the development of, broadening our new tax base. And we want to do that with necessary infrastructure projects that we would do already. We've also, over the last 18 months, we've been paying more attention to nuisance abatement. We're all familiar with the broken window theory, but the problems are not just weeds, junk, and debris in the yards. We have some in Westchester. We're a maturing community, and we have old, dangerous, and dilapidated buildings that we're trying to pay attention to, and we're going to focus more on that. And we have paid more attention to it over the last 18 months. And also, we're keeping our eyes out for hoarding. Hoarding cases are prevalent in every community. And we want to make sure we're doing our part to identify them and do what we can to assist them and clean up the properties. Typically, in a hoarding case, when it spills out into your lawn, it's too late. So we want to work on a plan, and we have been working on plans to identify those properties and help them if we can.
Very good, Larry. And, this month, 24 years ago, Union Center Boulevard opened.
Yeah.
And I know we received something from you the other day that said that once again, Westchester was one of those communities, number one in the state of Ohio as far as doing business with. And here you are 24 years after Union Center and still being able to do that. So kudos to you and your team.
Well, thank you.
Very good. Okay, let's move on. Erin, exciting news. We got a name change for the Community Foundation. I'm sure you would like to tell us all about it. What have you been doing, obviously, these past 12 to 18 months?
Sure. Well, first, Joe, the last community conversation we had, I wanted to kind of pick up. We had just established the Community Health Fund to meet the COVID-19 crisis. We actually granted out nearly $100,000 to great causes: UC Health, Christ Hospital, American Legion, Atrium, Reach Out Lakota, St. Vincent de Paul, and many other organizations were impacted by this community health fund that we created. At that same time, we were having that community conversation, what are we doing as community leaders to convene and meet the needs? So our role as a community foundation is to be a resource on those needs. And as a resource on those needs, we established the fund. On top of that, we've been busy. We have changed names. We've rebranded. We are the Northern Cincinnati Foundation. Frankly, we have just been experiencing a large amount of wonderful growth in this suburban area, and I find a lot of these other Northern Cincinnati communities are very similar to ours, have a lot of those same kind of focus issues. So, the assets that we're holding at the foundation, more than 50% of those are for donors in that Northern Cincinnati region, which is why we went ahead and we broadened and made sure that our geographic region that we're impacting is now reflecting our expanded donor pool. And that's happened over the past 5 to 7 years. We've really been growing, working with money managers, as well as M&A attorneys, estate planning attorneys, and CPAs. And so really, it's a great relationship we have with these professional advisors. They identify with our foundation, and we're working on a charitable plan for those individuals. So we're just really excited to be here, to be impacting not only Westchester and Liberty. We're still here for this community, but now we're working with many other Northern Cincinnati communities.
Yes, and the community foundation, if you will, the community's gotten bigger.
It has, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And then obviously providing that need and that support. So Erin, congratulations. So thank you for what you do. Let's move right along. Mark Hecquet, another name change I see, travel Butler County. And so Mark, obviously your office in Westchester Township, but the entire county, and obviously connecting us in a much broader range, if you will. What have you been doing, Mark, in the past 12 to 18 months?
Well, thank you, Joe, and thanks for being here and recognizing the name change, which is a really recent change, the last sort of 30 to 60 days. But the Butler County Visitors Bureau hasn't gone away. This is really, the name change is really an outward facing, how we wanted visitors to look at us. And we felt that the Visitors Bureau name is just has some bureaucratic ties to it that doesn't really resonate in a fun and exciting way. So we're still the Visitors Bureau at whole, but this is just an element we use in our marketing and how we want to promote ourselves in a sort of a much more welcoming environment for visitors that are coming today and for the future. So that's the quick down and dirty about how that came about. So what have we been doing the last 18 months? It's actually been quite a fascinating last 18 months for us. We spent the first 6 months not even talking travel. We were partnering with our health departments, our EMAs, all the county organizations on safety protocols. We were, with our marketing resources, our team was working through developing all the strategies for marketing for the whole county around COVID, and then implementing safety protocols for visitors and all kinds of different initiatives. That then morphed into us starting to think about how we were going to then welcome back visitors into our communities in a very safe manner. So again, we were working very close with our communities, our hotels, and in particular, a lot of our event operators, and how to create a safe environment, whether it be hand sanitizers, water stations, all information to visitors, et cetera, et cetera. So we did that. And then the last 6 months has really been a sort of return. The summer was really good for our county, especially on the leisure side. We saw a tremendous return of our events and just general visitors coming to visit for weekend getaways. So our team is working with those groups and making sure they have a wonderful experience, and as well as continue to promote our county as a wonderful destination and things like that. So, and then more recently in the last month, our teams have been able to get out and travel around the country to do what we normally do, which is promote our county for bigger events and again, bring visitors into our communities. So it's kind of like we're getting a lot closer to getting back to normal for our organization.
Well, when we use the word pivot or adapt or switch, you sure had to do that. And I had a chance to work with you and see your leadership along with Matt Havakos and working together. I know you were a go-to, as you said, on the marketing side, but really looked and were able to find a real niche and an opportunity to kind of lead us as we went through that. So congratulations, Mark, and congratulations on the name change also.
Thank you.
Matt Miller, Lakota Schools, proud superintendent, as we said before. Matt, obviously with the schools, you've been involved in a lot of different things and in a leadership role for everyone. Look to Lakota Schools, as we like to say. As Lakota goes, so goes Westchester and Liberty Townships. Matt, what's been going on for you in the past 12 to 18 months?
First of all, I want to thank the Westchester Liberty Chamber Alliance for putting this on. When I look at the panel, I don't just see leaders in their respective fields, I see colleagues. So I was with Erin earlier today and Joe and Mark and Larry last week and Kristen last week. So it's nice to see everyone again today, and thanks for providing this format. I think for Lakota Schools, we're trying to get back to our mission of educating our kids and students, which we didn't get away from, but it's just been more challenging. So I think the administrators, especially the executive team, the school board, has been trying to manage the COVID situation as best as we can for our kids, but at the same time letting our teachers and staff focus on the education piece while we try to deflect and manage our kids being in school, masks or no masks, quarantines, no quarantines, things like that. So it's a very fluid situation for us. But some of the highlights, I think, coming back post-pandemic, and I know we're not there yet, but some of the focuses are re-engaging with our business community, which I know is important to the panel, but also important to the chamber and to Westchester and Liberty Townships as well. So I'm looking forward to doing more with that. Also, our incubator EDU and partnerships with Miami University, and also some of the things that we're doing around cyber. So these are things that we don't have to do, but we need to do because of the workforce that's needed, and our kids can fill that niche. And so those are some of the highlights that we're working on. And again, some of the things that we are being impacted about with COVID, and I'm sure others are too, is our workforce. I know that Larry mentioned before the wellness component, and that's huge. Also, there's a huge void in some of our positions that we have in the district, both short-term and long-term. And so we're working on what does that look like for us too. And so that's a challenge for us moving forward. But Lakota, we are in a good position. We've never been better financially than what we are right now. And we've never been higher in enrollment than what we are right now. We're 17,200 students. So we continue to grow and expand our offerings and those options for our kids.
Very good. Well, thank you, Matt. And we appreciate that. And we're going to go back to you now on our next question. This is something that I'm asked about a lot from the businesses. So I'm sure they would be interested in hearing from all of us. What lessons have each of you learned in going through this pandemic? And, what do you continue to apply that you've learned as we move forward? So Matt, we're going to start with you.
I think this has reinforced communication between all of us. And so what I mean by that is, while face-to-face is important, we've learned with technology that we can do Zooms and other things that are important to still see somebody as we move forward and talk about making those connections. And so while we couldn't do that all the time, I think we're coming out of that right now. And I think people are just relieved to hopefully be getting back to normal for those face-to-face interactions to build on and get back to some sort of normalcy.
Very good. Thank you. And we're going to go Mark Hecquet next. Mark, What have you learned, and what are you able to apply here as we go through the pandemic?
So as you know, with our organization, we're very focused on driving visitors into our communities, and we do that in all different ways. But one thing that, you know, we always knew this, the strength of our community is paramount to that. If there is no community, there's no visitors. So, you know, we, have really looked at how our organization can help some of our community partners, and, especially in the marketing side, which we are pretty strong at, and not necessarily focusing on travel, but understanding that a strong community is really important, and that we continue to work with our community partners. We're working with the Butler County Self Group right now, using some of our experience to help them. So, sometimes it's good for us to step away from what we do at the core, and we can help other organizations in our communities.
Absolutely. Good. Okay, Larry, we're going to go to you next. What have you learned and able to apply as move forward?
One thing I'd like to point out, it's not necessarily learned, but affirmed the fact that within our communities, we have servant leaders in local government that they're critical to the success of our community, like Mark said. And we've never been needed or more valued than today. Public servants continue to be the first step, the first to step up and lead during a crisis. Sure, we have our first responders and frontline employees. They're the frontline heroes, but behind the scenes that no one ever sees are heroes that continue to address the changing needs of the township or the organization. HR departments addressing the myriad of policy changes on a weekly basis, right? The finance department, they have to track all of the money that comes in and exactly where we spend those dollars that we've received because of this pandemic. Administration and our public information people who promote and share information that's critical to the community's knowledge of how to handle their personal crisis. So, and all the while, under all of that stress, doing it with a great deal of professionalism and gratitude. They're happy to help. It's affirmed my career choice, right? I mean, we're in a place where we can contribute and really make a difference. And then, what Matt mentioned earlier, one thing I did learn is the efficiencies of our technology, primarily video conferencing. I have my staff meetings now through video conferencing, and I plan to continue doing that, because I'm not kidding when I tell you it's reduced our meeting times 45 minutes to an hour.
Good. Thank you, Larry. Kristen, thoughts, Liberty Township, what you've learned and able to apply and moving forward?
So I would say what we've learned is really how quickly we can react in a given situation as a team, how efficient we can be and kind of pulling the pieces together to make things happen. But that wouldn't be done without all of the relationships that we have built outside of our organization. So it goes, it's kind of collective, both internal and external, to help us do that. We didn't feel like we missed a beat. In fact, we were able to, like I said before, really adapt quickly, most notably with our zoning process, because that was a very kind of hands-on process, but we were able to roll it out quickly to be more electronic, which people have come to love. It simplifies the process for sure. So we've continued to do that, and we have found great success with that. We've also taken this opportunity to really look at our continuation of operations protocol for an emergency situation. So our fire department has led us through a kind of a tabletop exercise in a situation of any kind of given emergency we might go through. And I've just been really happy with our team and how they can really understand kind of how we need to react in a certain situation. So I think we really are learning from what we've gone through, and that's exciting.
Very good. Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Kristen. And Erin, obviously, we talked about the community getting bigger. You've, I'm sure, learned some things. And what are you able to apply as you move forward?
Sure. So I think efficiency is one thing, and it sounds like everyone echoes that to some degree. Whether that's things that could have been, it can be a phone call or an email, less in-person meetings. In-person meetings are reserved for truly important issues and strategies. So, I think efficiency definitely is top of mind. And I think all organizations have adjusted to be more efficient. I also think the work-life balance and like the 9 to 5 thought of, this has to be done and you have to be at the office from 9 to 5. I think that can be a little archaic, and that, things can be adjusted. So we've really adopted that model. We schedule more meetings for people that are coming in to meet with us. Individuals are working from home, maybe one day a week, the rest of the week in the office. And if hours need to be flexed, hours can be flexed. So we just really want to support our employees and make sure the job is getting done, and just make sure that work-life balance is there. So I think that's something we're focusing on as an employer, and a good community partner is just making sure that we're efficient and good work-life balance.
Very good. Thank you, Erin. One of the things that I think we saw in listening to you today, and I want to compliment each one of you. During this period of time, I think people that were our customers, the community, what you have when you need them the most. And we surely felt that there was a need, and each one of you as colleagues were there from the beginning. And I believe every one of your customers and the community recognized each one of you was there for them and helped get us through this. And so it's been a pleasure to work with you, unfortunate situations as they were. But, I surely think that all of us were there. And I think the community saw that and found that in us, knowing that they needed us and we were there for them. So kudos to all of us, and just a pleasure to be with you as colleagues. And what we want to do now is now let's pass on. We're getting past the COVID-19. Let's talk about what we're going to look at in the future as we end 2021 and go into 2022. Can you share with us what some of your future plans are? And Erin, we're going to go back to you and talk about what your future plans are. What does the future look like for your organization?
I think obviously we've expanded our name. We already have donors within that geographic region. We are definitely focusing on just greater impacts, and frankly, a business take, working with business owners right now, with tax code changes up in the air, and a lot of business owners may be unsure of the current situation. We are working with a lot of attorneys on M&A activity, setting up charitable funds, working on those individuals' charitable aspirations. So really, we're working with business owners in that northern Cincinnati region, working with them on those tax plans. And then, the larger that we are as a Northern Cincinnati Foundation, the more we can give back and make an impact. So really, we're very growth focused. Therefore, we continue to be the community trust fund for the long term.
One of the things you just did a couple of months ago was being able to have that fund for Reach Out Lakota. And
yes,
making that decision instead of dispersing it to different organizations, focusing on one. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because obviously that brought the community together, and I thought that was pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Very exciting. So Reach Out Lakota and our foundation, there is a long history since the very beginning for both organizations. And it's just a need that we feel is important for not only today and, over the past 20 years, but for that long term, is that we are always going to have a need in our community for a local food pantry. And so we just really felt like, as the Northern Cincinnati Foundation and our board, that this is a long in perpetuity cause and need, and that we need to make sure that not only today, but tomorrow, meaning 20, 50 years from now, that Reach Out Lakota is sustainable. They're still meeting the needs of the community that all of us care so deeply about. So we were very excited to give them $250,000 toward an endowed fund, which means it'll be there in perpetuity to help for the future of the organization. So we really think so highly about Reach Out Lakota, and we're very excited about that gift.
Well, and I think a key thing there, Erin, too, is you talk about a name change, but where the core is Westchester and Liberty Townships, and that just shows that. So kudos
Absolutely,
to your team. Thank you. Let's move on. Kristen, obviously, future looks bright in Liberty Township. All these wonderful things happening on the commercial side. What's 2022 and on look like for Liberty Township?
Yes, we definitely have some exciting things coming. We're continuing to work on Milliken Way interchange. That is continues to be one of the trustees' top priorities. So we continue to work on that. Community connectivity is also very important. So we are working on a project along Cincinnati-Dayton Road from Yankee Road to Liberty Way, in which we have received a safety grant through ODOT to put in a shared use path there. So that will make it nice and safe. It's 100% funded, so no money out of the township, which is great. We have lots of developments from Liberty Center coming online, some multifamily projects, Liberty Flats, and then Elevate has 90 office suites that will be opening in the foundry of Liberty Center. We also have a very small business, Costco, coming in. So I know people are very excited about that. You'll be able to get all your bulk products. So we have Freedom Point coming online. And along with that will be an anchor of multifamily development too. So we're having a groundbreaking this week. So it's very exciting to celebrate that. Everest Rehabilitation Hospital is also going to be opening spring of 22. So that is a $23 million rehab hospital. So that's exciting. And Midpoint Library is also working on an acquisition of property just across the street from the Lakota Y. So great opportunity there as well. And lots of stuff happening. So
absolutely. Wow, the Freedom Point is really, really exciting. Sure to look at that as the gateway to Liberty as it moves forward going north, and how important that is to keep that momentum going for the Milliken Road interchange. So kudos to your team, because I know it was a lot of hard work to make that happen. That took some time. And I read that the Costco that's coming into Liberty Township is going to be the largest Costco in our region. And so if that's the case, because I think a larger one is one closer to the Dayton market, and it's even going to be larger than that. So for those who love Costco, we've got a real gem here in Liberty Township. So kudos to you, Kristen.
absolutely.
So Mark Hecquet, we go back to travel Butler County, and the future it surely looks bright. You've got a great start, and 2022 and beyond. Fill us in on what we can expect.
So, yes, I'm going to be like a little bit of a downer, a little bit. It is bright, but we've got a long way to go. I just want to preface that our travel industry, or the travel industry in general, is probably one of the most impacted industries. And hence the recovery is going to take a while, and I'll just, a few statistics that the hotel community is not estimated that they'll fully recover for 2019 numbers until end of 23 and 24. With that said, I would like to sprinkle some optimism that Westchester, Liberty we'll be ahead of the curve. As Kristen mentioned, and I'm sure Larry mentioned, there's all kinds of new products coming online. We have new hotels coming online, new attractions in the county where, as an organization, we're working very closely with the Spooky Nut Project, which is going to have a county-wide benefit in 2022. So we're very hopeful that as an industry, it will rebound quicker than industry forecasts. Now, us as Travel Butler County, what are we doing in terms of that? The pandemic has changed things for us a lot. As an organization, we've actually had to look our role is to go out and find groups to come visit. And we've always based that on the needs of our hotel community. Well, that has changed. That has all changed. We used to focus very heavily on weekend business. And as you know, business travel or group travel during the week has suffered immensely. So now our hotel communities are looking for help during the week as opposed to the weekend, which is now very robust and with new product demand drivers. And I forgot to mention, who would have thought we would have a country and music venue in Westchester? I mean, I don't know if you guys have been here for a while, but if you had told me we would have a honky tonk bar up the street with music acts, I would have said no way in Westchester. But here we are. We have it, and it's bringing people, and they're bringing people to our hotels and things like that. Another initiative we're looking at is we're going to use technology again. Our organization is big on technology to help us learn, and one of the technologies we're going to use is better understand how visitors flow through our communities, to understand where the traffic pinch points are, so we can help with new developments and help make sure that our residents aren't truly impacted with traffic as much as we can, so to speak. And in addition to that, one of the things we've never done as an organization, and again, it layers back to my earlier comments, we want to understand what the residents think of visitors, and are they okay with that? Is there something we can educate our residents about the impact of travel and travelers and what it means and why it's important? So we're going to do a county-wide survey to understand resident sentiment towards travel. And lastly, an initiative that came out of the pandemic, because it did allow us to reset a few things, is we want to be a county and community that is welcoming for all. And so we spent a lot of time looking at what that means and how we can do better at that. So we've done a lot of work as an organization in accessibility and things like that. So you guys have all heard of the Donut Trail, and one of the new initiatives along that line is actually we're bringing out a Braille passport for our vision impaired visitors. So we're doing all those sort of initiatives, working with a lot of our attractions to make sure we can communicate that we are welcoming for everyone. So a lot of really exciting things. We're glad to be getting back to normal.
Sure. And Mark, can you talk a little bit about how important November 8th is, that date?
Oh, yeah. It is. It is a very important date for us, and hopefully a date that we won't have to repeat it. Well, November 8th, for those of you who don't know, is our borders will open again for the first time in 561 days. And so we'll now be able to welcome vaccinated visitors from across the world. And, I get asked the question, well, how does that impact Butler County? No one's coming from across the world to visit here. Well, I would say you're wrong. Larry's shaking his head like, yeah, we have many multinational companies that are based here in Westchester. They do business all over the world, and they will be bringing their customers in. We have a university that brings visitors and students from across the world. So it is huge for us, and it is a huge celebration for us, because this is another step on the travels industry road to recovery. So thank you, Joe, for reminding me about that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. And let's go to Matt. Matt, the Lakota schools, what can we expect as we go into second half of the school year and school years as we move forward?
Thanks, Joe. I think you'll see us re-engage with our kids in terms of the 4 E's. So when we talk about our kids graduating from East or West, that when they cross that graduation stage, they're going to know if they're going into employment, enrollment, entrepreneurship, or enlistment through our military. I also see us re-engaging with our community on our master facilities plan. As Larry had mentioned earlier, there's some facilities in Westchester that need some attention, and nothing could be truer than the same for Lakota schools. And we have some growth in Liberty Township, so we're going to have to address both of those needs as well. And I think too, as I mentioned earlier, just the spirit of mentorship for our kids coming up. While a lot of schools focus on the K-12 spectrum as we do, but we're also looking at what comes next. And so we have to re-engage with our business community so that we can fill that niche and that need for the workforce.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Matt. And Larry, we heard from Liberty and Kristen. We know there's a lot of great things going on in Westchester Township. What can we expect here as we move forward?
Yeah, November 8th is important. And, says the man with the English accent, right? I was just looking online to see how many international businesses we have in Westchester. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think it's close to 40. And it's important for that generation of traffic, international traffic. And we get international visitors through P&G and Kroger and, all of the nearly 40 businesses we have in Westchester. Going into next year, we're going to be focusing on many different things, just too many to list, but three that I want to point out is as the community grows, there's a growing need for space, right? We have the Edge Teen Center that needs space. We have an active senior population that wants space, and teens and children. It's just, we're going to look at right now we're looking at several different options. One of the options is 7900 Cox Road and remodeling the old activity center. Also, the second option is finishing Mulhauser Barn basement, creating a community space with meeting space that has air conditioning and heat and, fully functional for events. And I think of all the three, if there was a foot race, I think this one is probably in the lead right now, but nothing is set in stone. We're looking at a 15,000 square foot addition to Westchester's Midpoint Library. So those three are really important items. Continuing development or continuing attraction of those high-tech jobs that we continue to see going into the Westchester Trade Center and other facilities throughout Westchester. Techion is one that we attracted. It's a software company for the automobile industry, and we beat out the cities of Austin and Nashville. So that speaks a lot to the Westchester community. And Joe, I've told you many times, Westchester is very important because, the city of Cincinnati and the city of Dayton are part of the Westchester MSA, right? So the Westchester Liberty region. So it's important. And then finally, the big thing moving forward is the 99 or 100 acre Dillon development, which is just north, and it's the northeast section of Interstate 75 and Union Center Boulevard. We're really getting close to having some commitments from all the stakeholder groups, and it is along the east fork of the Mill Creek. So there's going to be a beautiful green space and green corridor, natural corridor for people to use. It'll be a wonderful addition to the community. So those are things that I'm working very hard to get really, getting dirt moving and getting things agreed to by the end of 2022.
Very good. Thank you, Larry. This is for everybody now. Any stories that you feel you could share, success stories here the past 18 months as we move forward, something that might have with your organization, personally, bringing people together, any success stories that have come from this, that through a pandemic, we have seen the light and things have been moving forward in a positive way? Anybody?
I'll go.
Okay, Matt.
I would say that my teachers and staff have been resilient, if nothing else, and kudos to them for that. And also, we have amazing things happening every single day in our classrooms, and so that does not get probably the attention that it deserves or needed. So we need to figure out ways to amplify that.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll go.
Okay, Mark.
I mean, I would just say a success, from us selfishly, is that there's two folds coming out of this success. First of all, I think everyone appreciates travel now. And now we get to travel again and we're getting to meet again. And that is, as much as Larry wants to run his staff meetings by Zoom, they ain't not happening at Travel Butler County, I can assure you. But one of the successes as an organization, our work this year, we just got recognized as having the best marketing campaign in Ohio for our work this year. So we're really excited about that. It's the first time we've got that award. So just a little selfish promotion for Travel Butler County.
Absolutely. Yes. Congratulations. That's great. Anybody else?
I want to say thank you to Joe for your leadership, Joe, and then everyone else as a community leader in the equation. I think when I look at all of you on the screen, you guys have really been pioneers through all of this. You've been great benchmarks for the rest of the other Ohio areas to benchmark, the action that's being taken. As a organizational success story, I was going to share, we have so many different wonderful fund holders. One that comes to mind, a Lakota graduate, Lakota student, Master Sergeant Corey Hood. A memorial fund was established for Master Sergeant Corey Hood. And it's been really inspiring to watch those millennial fundraisers think about new ways to fundraise, build this fund, make a really impactful scholarship for a student from Lakota that has that grit. I think that that's a great story and a great fund. It's a great legacy for Master Sergeant Corey Hood. And then now they've grown so much and done so well with their following and fundraising that they have 3 funds, and now they're making triple the impact. And so I just wanted to say, it only takes a little seed of an idea and then look at the impact and giving you can do through a fund, and thank all of you for your leadership. You guys are truly, truly amazing leaders. So
yes. Very good. Thank you, Erin. Anybody else like to add?
I do. Joe, I have one thing.
Please, Larry.
We're talking about travel and the hotel industry and the resilience of it, but I encourage everyone to support that hotel industry. Mark Hecquet and I had lunch yesterday, and we were kind of kicking ourselves that we weren't enjoying lunch at one of the hotels. And but they're really important for our community because it's a hub of hotel activity that draws in outside dollars, and then when you account for the multiplier effect on an economy, it's huge. And just one last note, we have this as of 2016. We have 60 international companies from 13 different countries. So
very good.
That's a big role.
Absolutely. Thank you. We've had the opportunity now of doing this a couple times. And I'd say a success story here is that for us to be able to get together and spend some time, taking time out of our busy schedules to do this, I'm sure the community appreciates this. I know I do. I learned so much from each one of you, and we come together as one. And that doesn't always happen, as kind of Erin was alluding to before, in a community. So I surely think the things look bright for us. I can tell you that as I talk to other people in the region, they're envious of what's happening in Westchester Liberty Townships. And it's because of the people. The people make the difference. Yes, we got a great location, but the people make the difference here. And here are the leaders right here today. So I want to thank you for what you do again. And I think a success story right here is what we've been able to do in bringing us together as one voice and continuing to move the area forward. So thank you.
You're welcome, Joe. Happy to serve.
Yes. So our community leaders have a passion for what they do. And as you can tell, they care very much about our communities. They make a difference. We hope you have enjoyed our Community Leaders podcast. Thank you again to Ian Murray and the team at SpotOn Productions. For information on how SpotOn Productions can help your organization increase brand awareness and make your ideas a reality, go to www.spoton.productions. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Joe Hinson with the Westchester Liberty Chamber Alliance, connecting people and possibilities.